all for joining us. We've been supporting this project for a few months now, and we're in a transitional state ourselves at the center. But I want you all to know that the services that we've been providing, we want to continue to provide services for those of you who are serving in the prevention field. And so, Stephen, are you able to see the full screen or the two little screens? Hello?
I just see the full screen.
Okay, wonderful. That's what you need. So this is one of several meetings that we've had, opportunities to share conversations on tribal partnerships for success, because it's really important for us at our center to continue to support the programs that you do. Know that we are funded by SAMSHA, and they support many of our centers. Our technical technology transfer centers are supported by them, and what we share today does not necessarily reflect their views or anything specific or that of AHHS, but those of you all who serve in the community. And so when we gather, it's really important to us, because we are working with tribal communities across Turtle Island, that we take time to acknowledge the land and pay respect to our indigenous nations whose homelands were forcibly taken over and inhabited, the past and present. We want to honor the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. This calls us to commit to forever learn how to be better stewards of these lands through action, advocacy, support, and education. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced occupation of our territories, and we respect the many diverse people connected to this land on which we gather from time immemorial. While the injustices are still being committed against our people on Turtle Island, today we say thank you to those that stand with us and acknowledge that land reparations must be made to allow healing for our indigenous peoples and to Mother Earth herself. And this document was created by three of my colleagues, Ella and Keely Driscoll, as well as Sean Bear, and all three of them come from the Meskwaki Nation, which is very near to where our university is situated. If you look at this map here of all the PTTCs across the country, we're in the yellow section of this map at the University of Iowa. And so the reason we had Sean Bear and Ella and Keely create that land acknowledgement is because very near our university is the Meskwaki settlement. And so we want to make sure that we pay respect to the land there on which our university sits. But we get to serve, we're one of the only technology transfer centers that gets to serve tribal communities across the country, the lower 48, as well as Alaska. So we have the honor of working with you all, listening to you all, and helping you all in your prevention programming. And it's important to know that we really appreciate your feedback. By the end of our time together, I want to make sure that you've taken time to do the survey, whether you use the QR code that's here on the screen or the hyperlink that's here. I will post in the chat also in a few minutes. Just so you know, the important work that you're all doing is recognized across Indian country. You have the opportunity to serve your tribal communities, both urban and rural, through this specific grant that you've all been given. And Stephen joined a little bit earlier. He and I were speaking, and he said, you know, I don't know who else in my area has a PFS grant. And I don't know either for you, Stephen, but I think that's important information to find out so that you know that you have a partner in your immediate area, in your region, that you can work with. And I did invite one of the officers to come here from SAMSHA, and she thought she might be able to hop on for a little bit, but I guess her other meeting prior to this is running a little bit late because she knows that we've been hosting this platform for you all to share your successes with us and provide support for you all as you learn to collaborate with one another as well as with our center. Just so you have a quick recap, we've been doing this for about a year now, and it's an opportunity for you all to jump on, spend a little bit of time sharing about your successes and the work that you do, and to share about what your hopes are for the near future, for your upcoming year, things of that nature. And we want to continue to provide this platform for that. This is a full year that we've been doing this. So as we are in a transitional period for our center, because our grant year is ending this September, we're trying to move forward and find better ways to continue to serve you all as we get into the new fiscal year. And once we have that down pat and know the right answers to share, right information to share, I'll be happy to do that. In the meantime, we want to make sure that you know we applaud you for your success and are here to listen about the concerns that you have, because we know that several of you consistently have shared the importance of grounding the work that you do with tradition, with culture, with ceremony, and hopefully are finding some support in your immediate area. And so as we move forward in this next year, we want to see what we can do to consider how have you been so successful in the work that you've been. And this is just a conversation starter. I want to make sure that you're able to post in the chat box who you are, where you're coming in from, what tribal community you serve. But I know in the work that I do at the center, because we have such a large community to serve across the country, that sometimes there's some challenges. Sometimes there's some great success. And sometimes we just need to figure out how do we keep moving forward. So I want to invite you all to share just briefly, what does resilience mean to you? Because I believe in the work that you do, it requires each of us to continue to move forward in a positive way, continue to be optimistic as we rise to meet the challenges. And I want to invite you all to share a little bit about your own experiences in your communities. So, no particular order, but when you're ready to share, you can just unmute yourself and introduce yourself and then answer the question if you could. Is there anybody who'd like to begin?
I'll start. Hi, my name's Courtney. I work for Cook Inlet Tribal Council. We're in Anchorage, Alaska, and we've had the SPIF grant a couple of times. This is our second round of the project. This is our first time on this meeting, so we're happy to be with you today. So I think just thinking in terms of our project and what we support, resilience to me. So we work really closely with the Alaska Native Cultural Charter School here in Anchorage. And they're a charter school, and they rely on funding from parents and from the school. So they've really struggled throughout the years to, they don't have the best technology. They just had to move buildings. They don't have a lot of the quality items that you would want in a school for kids. So just thinking about the teachers that we work with and the youth there, I think they are so very resilient in being able to provide quality, quality teaching to our young people, and, despite not having all the things that you might want. So yeah, that's what I think of when I think of resilience.
What a great example. Thank you, Courtney. Tara, go ahead.
Yep, I can go next. I'm Tara Asmer. I also work at Cook Inlet Tribal Council and Recovery Services with Courtney. So I'm talking about kind of the same project, but I'll come at it from another perspective too. So we work to provide professional learning series for youth organization staff to help strengthen and work on social and emotional competencies in their work. So kind of focusing on the teachers. I think teachers have been incredibly resilient, especially over the last couple of years with COVID and the transitions and everything. So I just think that it's impactful and shows that our teachers are incredibly resilient and passionate and sticking with it and wanting to learn about their own emotional resilience, but also help their children that they teach and serve have resilience as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Tara. Different perspective, and I appreciate you speaking to the emotional resilience that we need to have, especially educators and the work that they do, because it is emotionally draining for those of us who work with young people consistently, and for those of you who serve in the field of prevention. So thank you. Jamasina or Philip?
Hi, my name is Philip Stevens. I work with the Eastern Shoshone tribe here in Wyoming. And I work at the Doyanatsu Healing Center as a youth coordinator with the PFS. And me, mainly I've been working with the Boys and Girls Club and the Children's Lodge. And resiliency right there, a lot of those kids are placed in a home, in a group home. And I go there and I talk to them with the cedar and sweetgrass, using that, our traditional ways of how, our spiritual part that, we have to continue on, because I talk about our ancestors, our old folks. They went through all this experience, but, they talked about it to us and we carry that on, continue on with it. That is what the resiliency of means to me. And then, a lot of the kids, they express themselves saying that, they don't have the time to use sweetgrass, or they don't have one with them, especially the group home. They really, really cherish that. They really hold it to themselves. I think it has helped them. Even though this children's lodge, they're under 12 years old, but I still work with them, even though it doesn't cover my grant, but it's 12 and up. But a lot of them, it's the young ones, but those young ones already do feel it. So that's the reason why I still go over there, and then I work with the staff too, like doing tapping exercise and whatnot, because they go through a lot of stress too. So we give them what to do, what they can do to help themselves. So that's the work I have done with the PFS here.
Great. Thank you, Philip, for sharing.
Okay, my name is Jamasina. When I think of resilience, it's mostly what our focus was on, like activities, bringing back like the traditional teachings that they were once taught. Like a recent occasion was getting the young boys involved, and we had a ichabu making workshop, which is a drumstick making workshop, and they really liked it, and we're gonna do more of that. And like right now we're doing like it's like a jingle dress making classes, so families have a healthy environment to bond together. So what they take from this class is what we taught them, so they can pass it down to the next generations. Just bringing back those teachings as a good coping skill. That's what I think of resilience.
I really can appreciate what each of you shared, all different aspects of it, but still focusing on the need to maintain our identity, maintaining the perseverance to move forward in a real positive way. And I appreciate that, because so often you read about our people, you read about our history in such negative ways. And 20 years from now, 50 years from now and more, I'm hoping that they hear the positive things that people have done across Indian country, like the four of you. So I want to say thank you for that. I know it can be a tough journey to keep moving forward in a positive way because of the tough work that we're all doing. But I want to say thank you to each of you for the work that you do. I'm going to start the slide deck one more time. Hopefully you can see it. And these are good lessons to share with our youth and our young people, that we've persevered. We stay connected to who we are through our cultural identity. And so some other things I want you to think about is, what has having the PSF grant in your community meant? I know some of you already alluded to the great things that it's brought to your charter school, to your teachers, to the programming that you have. Are there any personal stories of families or incidents in your community where you see the change, you've seen the positivity come out of it? Is there anybody who'd like to share what having this grant means to each of your communities?
With mine, with getting this PFS grant, I'm glad that we got it here, and it really put my focus on collaborating with the community, not just here on the reservation, but I went into the Fremont County, which is into Lander and Riverton with their juvenile treatment court, and I've been doing the culture aspect there. And then this past spring, I mean, they took me they asked me to go to the DRC, which are the kids that are expelled from the classroom, but they're at the county. I went there and I talked with them about what they know about sweetgrass. These are the teens between 15 and 18 years old that were at that DRC, and it's in Fremont County too. And there were some whites and there were mixture, but I still talked to them. And then I talked to them about the circle of life. I mean, then the fireplace, all that, how they're interconnected in our life and in our teachings. So with getting that grant, I mean, I went beyond off the reservation into the county, and I got well known even at the treatment court, and they always recommend me. So I'm gonna be going back as soon as school starts. Well, they're on their second 2 week of school now, so I'll probably be making a trip back over there every Monday. So I'm gladful that we got this grant, and we use it in a lot of ways, and I think it has helped the community here in Fremont County for everybody.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah, sometimes we're at capacity, we're limited in what we can do because of funding. And even we do have funding. I remember early on when we had these conversations back in September, October last year with some of the grantees across the country. Even when we have some money, sometimes we're limited in what we can do. But it sounds like you've been able to find a way to expand who you serve, Philip, in your area, knowing that not everybody there at the county is native. I'm sure you said you found some non-native young people who have been in that situation, but you don't know who else might see you there. There may be a native youth who doesn't come up to you or doesn't sit in the session or doesn't hear, but he does hear or she does hear from their other friends in the situation. So thank you for sharing that. Is there anybody else willing to share about what having the PFS has meant to their community?
I can share. So a evaluation was done with the teachers that were provided professional development over the last year, and just some notable findings were that 100% agree that they understand how Native values connect to their work now. 73% notice that they have more self-regulation strategies and are able to connect with the students more in their schools. And 86% currently practice personal self-regulation during challenging moments with students. So I just think that really shows how important the work is and how needed it was that our teachers feel supported and feel like when they're given the knowledge of culture, it's able to help them connect with their students and feel like they're doing a better job in their work, but also in their personal lives as well.
That's really good, Tara. I think you're the first who's expressed that you actually took some time to do a needs assessment and really listen to what is working, what the needs are, and how you can impact that with the services that you provide. So I'm really, have y'all published this report? I'm really curious if any of this is publishable material that we can read up on.
I don't think it's been published yet, but next month when we meet with our partners, I'll see if we can get a hold of it and we'll send it over.
Okay, nice.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. I know that there are a lot of important research projects, studies that focus on the health inequities with our people. And many of the findings are not published because tribal communities, when they do it themselves, choose to keep it to themselves with good reason. But when we have some really good opportunities to share this data across Indian country, it helps us understand where those successes are and where there's extra support needed. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share about what the PFS has meant to their community before we move on to our next question?
Really quickly, I'll share. I think most of our prevention grants have been focused on targeting youth specifically and doing direct service work. But with our SPIF project, we're really targeting the adults and trying to create healthy adults since they work so closely with youth. So I think that's been really impactful in our community because not a lot of projects are focusing on that.
Wow, yeah. Sometimes it's that population that we're not sure where to provide them the services. So I'm glad you encourage that and you engage them. I know when we have healthy adults in our communities, chances are we'll have healthier young people too.
Yes,
So
definitely.
Thank you for including those of us who are above 18. If I can get the next question going. Is there a specific program or project that you've done recently that's been really successful, that's had some great turnout, positive responses from the youth, from the families, from the community? Something that you've done in the last 2 to 3 months. Summers are quite busy in our area where we're up here in Minnesota. It's good weather to be outdoors and do a lot of outdoor activities. So I know the different programs here offer a lot of outdoor interactive activities for our young people. Is there any specific program that's been very successful for any of you?
I do.
Okay.
We've had the Young Buffalo Talking Circle for about 3 years now, and it's just like since the start of this grant, and we have expanded from just reaching the Santee community. We reach now the Niobrara Public Schools. So the kids that go to off-reservation school, they can still attend. It's an effort to include those who are not Santee. And some of our focus for this group is to build like leadership skills because it's not just a talking circle, it's a youth council. And they have done like really great work the past 3 years. They've done like fundraisers to support like the daycares and like even holiday parties for the babies. And they even help volunteer serve the elders for like a Thanksgiving dinner. The elders really like seeing the youth out there just giving back and even like calling for bingo. And just each year for the past 3 years, they have attended Unity. And it's just our youth council is growing because it started with a good steady 7 participants. And now we have up to 18, possibly growing even more this year because we're waiting to get started on a regular schedule coming back from summer. And now we're gonna actually get some of our youth ready to present before the tribal council about their experiences, what their plans are. And then one of our youth, they want to become a Great Plains area region rep.
Wow.
So that is some of our plans to come, and then get ready for our service project for this year. But that's one of our like oldest, but it's like it's more inclusive. We kind of expanded for the middle school. It's kind of hard to get them on a set schedule, so we visit them during the lunch hour, but it's hard to get the middle school and high school youth together. So we're just having the middle school join whenever they have their once a month meeting, so they both combine, because you got youth that are on the res and they go to the outside other schools, but it's kind of like a breakfast club in a way. It's a way to get these youth to mingle amongst each other, even though they probably haven't acknowledged each other yet. It has created like friendships that you wouldn't expect, but we did like a little survey to see, like, what is your favorite thing about this group? And they just love the fact that we have like this, it's not like a family, but it's just something like a good relative that they can depend on. And they can acknowledge each other in public, and it's just created this great, I want to say, like a tiwahe. It's like a family, so they can just like adopt each other, even though they're not related.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I think that's one of them. But another one was the social emotional learning. And that was during the last school year. And we served the 4th and 5th graders to do like different activities to talk about co-regulation. We developed this like Jeopardy game that includes like kind of situations you would run into that would include like drugs and alcohol, but they kind of like, they really took really great from it, because it came to like a question of like I don't know, they're pretty sarcastic. Just like peer pressure, and they're like, well, I wouldn't really do that because that's actually pretty disgusting. But it was really cool, and it's just like created like a cool little network with the kids, because they'll always stop by after school now. So we're gonna get ready and start up an after school program and offer like different activities. We're gonna get ready and do like dried meat and different other stuff, and then like ribbon skirt making, especially when it comes to like Native American Heritage Month. But yeah, it's all kinds of plans.
That sounds like y'all are busy. And that last project you talked about was for 4th and 5th graders?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's really great. I know oftentimes what I've heard across the different programs that are being offered, it's geared towards middle school and early high school. And those are wonderful opportunities. But it's also important to get to them when they're in elementary school. It's unfortunate that even our young people are tempted to do follow some inappropriate behaviors. And I don't know if I've shared this with this group in particular, but my niece, who teaches in a big school in Arizona, elementary school in Arizona, called me right at the end of the school year in May, sharing that she had found some 4th graders in the bathrooms vaping, and she was shocked to find this in her school. And she reported to the school administration and whatnot, and wanted to know what can be done. So we've had some really good conversations over the summer to help her focus on prevention, because she had no clue that young people in elementary school would be tempted or have access to vaping materials because of the laws. I said, it doesn't matter what the laws are. Think of underage drinking, think of when you were a teen, think of all these other things that have happened over the course of time. And So I'm hoping that she's better equipped and getting ready for the new year, knowing that she has some tools in her toolbox to get ready for helping them in this field of prevention. She's trying to teach academics with kids, but then has this additional responsibility, just like what Tara was alluding to earlier, that our educators have a lot on their plates and really are the front line responders to a lot of other concerns that happen with our young people. And so when we show them that we can support the school janitors, the school secretaries, the school administration, and our teachers, then we know that there are better chances for our young people to have healthier outcomes and make some better choices for their lives. So thank you all for sharing. I have one last question here to post on the screen for you all. I can get it to move forward. It's really trying to understand how our center can better support the work that you're all doing. You all are coming from the Great Plains area, as well as Alaska is what it seems like. And we have the honor at our center to serve tribal communities in the lower 48, as well as Alaska. And there was a person who'd been coming to the first several months of our sessions or conversations. And then about 2 months ago, maybe in June, she emailed me and says she's no longer in the Cook Inlet area program. So I wasn't sure who would be taking on that responsibility, but I want you all to know that our center is more than happy to help provide technical assistance to you all to support the work that you all are doing. Stephen can attest to the opportunities that we've been able to provide for training in person in your communities. If there's a need and a request for that, we'll do our best to continue to provide services. But is there something specific that any of you are looking for that might need some extra support for a program that you're looking at providing in the next few months, in the upcoming year?
Yes, I am following up about the Red Ribbon Week materials.
Very nice. Thank you. 'Cause it's one of my things I'm going to be sharing.
Awesome.
I can find my screen and share this screen. At our center, we have this lovely little internal calendar that, can y'all see the calendar or do y'all see my big screen? Janice, do you see the calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll look at September and October because, as Jamasina pointed out, Red Ribbon's around the corner, Red Ribbon Week. And so I'll share that in a few moments, but next month specifically, we have the Suicide Prevention Month. And we want to make sure that we address that from a cultural perspective, that we are looking for resources to support you all in that field of talking about it with our young people, talking about it with our families in a culturally responsive way. So our team is at the final stages of creating a document, a product to share. We'll be posting that on our website because we know it's very important. Not only do we have, the Suicide Prevention Week, Suicide Prevention Day, but it's the month of September where we know that in many tribal communities, it's not always a welcome conversation to have. It's taboo in some tribal communities to discuss this or talk about this, but we know that it's an important conversation to share. And it's really talking about how can we support our young people in the struggles that they go through, because oftentimes our young people don't know that they have options in life. They don't see another way out of a situation that they find themselves in. And so this is the one option that they can only see. But There are a lot of wonderful communities. I know Arizona and New Mexico do a great job focusing on the 988 number and programming from a cultural perspective. The states of Oregon and Washington also do a fabulous job of looking at that from a cultural perspective. Most times when you call into the number, you get an English speaker on the other line because most people do speak English. However, different states such as those four are hoping to create programs where they have native language speakers answer the phones also to support that work that's needed. And so I want to provide you with that information. It will be the documents, the products that we're creating for this September month will be shared on our website and with those of you who attend these sessions. As we move forward to October, Jamesina mentioned Red Ribbon Week, and we are in the midst of changing the dates on the products that we have created for that. It's a Monday through Friday document that we have created to remind you all of different activities that you can do. And if I can pull it up quickly enough, I will, Jamesina, because Red Ribbon Week is a time where we can speak to our little ones, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, all those elementary grades who have a lot of excitement about when they see something happening in their school. And it's a good way for them to be actively engaged in learning about this, sending those messages early on to have healthy choices in life and to think about how to lead healthier lives for themselves and for their communities, and to recognize when a friend is doing something that maybe doesn't look right. And I know oftentimes little ones can get bullied, and October is another month for that, Bullying Prevention Month. And I know that sometimes when children share with adults, teachers, parents, school administrators, that they see something happening, they get made fun of by other children. And it's really important to know that when someone's not making good choices, it is okay. When you're not sure what they're doing is right, it's okay to share that in a safe environment with an adult, a prevention specialist, a school counselor. So are there any other things besides what Jamesina is asking for with the Red Ribbon Week materials that you would like us to send?
I can't think of anything.
I'm trying to access this website quickly as I'm speaking, but sometimes I'm challenged. As you look on our school website, and it's actually in our K through 12 website. It's not the one I usually have access to. No. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I share it correctly. So if you're able to get to the National American Indian Alaska Native MHTTC site, this gives a lot of great resources for those of you who work in school programs, who work specifically with the K through 12 sector in an educational setting. And even if you're not in that specific area, there are specific resources that can help you in the work that you do in the field of prevention behavioral health. Hidden, so I always have to remember how to navigate this. But it's in our products for K through 12. Can't find it quick enough, Jamasina. I will send you the link once I do find it. You can also do a search for it, Red Ribbon. So we have a link, and if I can open it up, I'll put it in the chat box.
Okay, thank you.
Do you see this on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll put the link here also. And these are the dates I've asked them to change them because they'll be different for this year. But where Monday through Friday, you can have an actual specific activity. You can also have them do a pledge for being drug-free. And this is where you can personalize the documents, putting your school's name or your program name there at the top. And you can have classrooms posted in there. The teachers can post it in their classrooms, or you can post it around school. One school created them on these little cards, a little bit bigger than a business card, and they handed them out to all the kids, and they had them recite it together. So there's different ways that you can utilize this information for your community. I'm going to post it in the chat real quick. So there's the link for that. And look forward to the updates. Are there any other needs that some of you may have that you'd like some guidance or assistance with? I know Philip and I talked earlier about some training that he'd like to have at his center. And so we'll carry on the conversation about that one-on-one. But I'd like to share the upcoming dates, not specific dates, but upcoming events that we will be hosting in the fall. For those of you who serve as prevention specialists specifically, these are the three, hopefully, can y'all see all three of these on your screens?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. These are the three required curricula that SAMHSA is asking people to be trained in so they can prepare for the prevention specialist certification. The requirements, the dates, the costs do vary state to state, unfortunately. So we'd have to look into your specific state if you want to pursue that. I am working right now with 3 prevention specialist fellows in our office from 3 different states to help them work towards their certification in this area. And they've all taken these 3 curricula, but they were not from the Native perspective, other than SAPST. The Substance Abuse Prevention Skills Training is the only one that has been specifically adapted for American and Alaska Natives. It was done over 10 years ago by Dave Braveheart and his team at the time. Our center is in the midst of updating that for this next go around. We were just given permission to make those final updates. It is available on Healthy Knowledge from a non-native perspective. If you want to just go through the online asynchronous version, which is like a self-paced version of it, it should take less than 10 clock hours to complete. And it's just the westernized, standardized version of SAPST. Our center, when we offer it, it is done through 4 days of training, and we'll be working on those dates to promote at the end of September so that we can actually start working with communities again in that capacity once we have it completely updated. The moderated ethics course in the center is not indigenized at all, but we've been given permission to actually create it, adapt it, make it meaningful. It is also available on Healthy Knowledge platform, and takes about, I would say about 15 clock hours of your time to complete. And the last one, the Native Prevention Core Competencies, is something that is very new. We had some colleagues out in Oklahoma offer that for the first time back in June. And they are looking forward to partnering with us because we have been given permission from SAMHSA to create it, adapt it from a Native perspective. And so all three of these, beginning late September, early October, will be offered from our center with a Native perspective for our tribal communities. Whether you are Native or non-Native, doesn't matter. The fact that you serve tribal communities is what's really important. And so our center will be offering those specifically. They are all being offered across the country, every state, every region, from a non-Native perspective, and you're welcome to take them. I've taken all three of them from a non-Native perspective, and that's why I see the value in having our voice in this curricula.
Are you guys going to send those training and resources like via email, or is that something that we need to reach out to you if we're interested in scheduling?
We are asking that you reach out to us because right now we've been offering them virtually. The
Okay.
last, and the only one we've actually been offering consistently is the SAPS, the last one.
Okay.
The other two are very new. We just got permission late spring and June to make the adaptations for our communities from SAMHSA. So we're in the midst of doing that right now. Our goal is to have that done very, very soon. But I will let you know that we have a community already in Arizona who's going to be one of our first tribal communities who's asked us to come out and do the training in person with some of the updated curricula. So we are willing to do that. We're able to do that with some limited funding that we have. We're willing to work with you all to go out to your communities. And I know, like I said, there was a lady up there in the Cook Inlet. Her name escapes me right now. But she had requested for us to do just that, to come out to Alaska and do some in-person training for these three programs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If you look on the screen, I've provided our email addresses. I'm the first one on there, Dr. Allison Bays. And I have our director, Dr. Anna Helena Skinstadt, and our co-director, Dr. Jackie Gray. Please reach out to us and let us know if you have any specific questions or concerns and how we can support the work that you're doing. Any last questions before we sign off for today? I will put the code back here on the screen one last time for you all. Are y'all able to see the code, or you still see our information?
We can see the code.
Okay, thank you. Well, I appreciate you all taking time out of your schedules to be here on the line with us today. And we look forward to working with y'all. Please reach out to us if you have any further questions, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.